Previously on Input Left.
The furries are coming out to play. Lucario, are you in there? Oh,
yeah, is Lucario part of it? I mean...
Oh, no.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Input Left's Pokemon Diamond Nuzlocke. This is Joe Vargas with Will here playing Pokemon Diamond. How's it been, Will? This is our first time recording on a Monday.
Yeah, we had a busy weekend, but fortunately we were able to find some time on a Monday to record instead. Normally Sunday is when we do it. I'm doing great, thanks for asking. We've got a beautiful team here, and we're ready to go head on to Hearthome City. I was briefly considering, at this point, now that we caught Mitch McConnell, the Grottle, maybe we should replace Jamal Bowman, the Riolu, with him. But I think for now, I'm content to leave Jamal where he is. If he doesn't evolve before the next level limit, though, we might have to reconsider. Yeah. Speaking of, that next level limit is, I believe, level 30.
Okay, so we're getting close.
Yes, we don't have a ton of wiggle room. Especially because both the third and fourth gym leaders are level limited, have a level limit of 30. So we almost have to go up to the fourth gym with that constraint and then tackle both the gyms like back to back.
Okay. Now, Will, I know you said we had a busy weekend. Was the reason it was busy? Are you including the late night stream we took part in viewing?
I am definitely including that. That was definitely one thing that added to the busyness. I will not deny it.
So, can I talk about it?
Oh, please go ahead. Yeah, enlighten the audience.
So Will and I, and I would say, I don't know, at least I'm a pretty routine person. I like to build in, pretty steady sleep schedule. Have a pretty normal hours of living and working, but we kind of discovered last minute that so for those of you who don't know, we're big fans of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. It's an anime, big following, very exciting, and we kind of knew this event was on the horizon, and it was just like a stream with like the actors, but everyone kind of knew that they were going to announce the next season of the show. And so we kind of got excited about it. We were going to just wait, hear the announcement, but it turns out that you could buy tickets. And it was at, like, I don't know what it was at, like, it was at like 2 p.m., but it was like at 2 p.m. Japanese time. So it was,
it was I think 4:30 in Japan, which is like 2:30 where we are. AM, I should say. Yeah.
So we were texting back and forth, and somehow we landed on, dude, let's do it. Let's.
Yeah. We sort of just jumped at the chance eventually to be there for this pivotal moment.
So I set an alarm for. Oh. The AI has gotten smarter.
Unfortunately, switching to a dark type here won't help them as much because it's still gonna do 24 damage.
What's that ability where it's like, I don't know if it's Shuckle who has it, but it'll tell you if the opponent can kill you in one hit.
I think you're thinking of Anticipation.
Oh yeah. Shudders in Anticipation. It's the frog learns.
Yeah, well, yeah, Croagunk and Toxicroak get it, but it's not whether or not your opponent can one-shot you, I think. It's just whether or not they have a super effective move against you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, so we bought these tickets. We bought the ticket, actually, to stream this event at 3 in the morning. Which, not a traditional thing I would ever do, but...
No.
I set an alarm. I set an alarm for like 15 minutes before the event, so I actually went to sleep and then woke up in the middle of the night for this. And we kind of, decided, oh, well, it's 3 in the morning. I'm not going to be like commentating when I'm currently living with my family and they need to sleep. But we hopped on Discord, watched the stream, and I don't know, there were some notable things about it. for one, it was gonna be like, was it an hour and a half total?
I think it was 2.5 hours was how long it's scheduled to be. I think they went a little over and it ended up being closer to 3 hours.
Oh my god. So already it was, so spoiler alert, we did not make it through 3 hours.
No. I really tried. I did, but I didn't want to be like dead tired the next day, you know? That's what it came down to. I was like, you know, I sort of did a bit of calculus. We made it through the first hour.
Mm-hmm.
They cut to commercials for a bit.
Right.
And I thought to myself, I was like, okay, so as much as I don't want to accept this possibility, there is a chance that there aren't any announcements at the end of this that will excite me. And frankly, the English subtitles that came with it were just not quite good enough for me to really be engaged as much as I would have liked to be by the panel of voice actors that they had. And I was like, am I really going to sit through this like kind of difficult to really follow like panel of like conversation between all these voice actors who, you know, like I normally would be if I could completely understand them, that would be enough. But I'm like, will I sit through that for another hour and a half for a chance at being there for the next announcement? Or will I just accept that I can watch the VOD the next day and like, you know, see what happens then? And in the end, I was like, look, I don't really want to stay up till 5:30 a.m. or whatever, you know. I'll just dip out, yeah.
The next day, the morning of the next day.
Yeah.
No, it was, and it was like, we were like, I don't know, at least for me, it was like, I was like high at experiencing this like alien thing, because the people need to know just how bad the translations were. It was like live subtitled, and they didn't like whitelist all the terminology, I think, for the show. So there's terminology like Hamon Overdrive is a term that's used in the show, and it just becomes like, I don't know, like Hamburglar driver, you know, like and that may be a fake example, but let me give you a real one. Joestar became both toaster at points and Jew Star, which
that's true.
I'd be careful with that
like
one.
there is a moment where they're like about to reveal the voice actress who's going to play Jolene in Part 6, the anime adaptation of Part 6. And they're talking about, you know, how the Joestar spirit has passed down from like one character to the next, from one voice actor to the next, right? And unfortunately, the subtitles, which I can interpret because I have a brain, but the subtitles read the toaster spirit that's been inherited by all these people, and it's hard not to laugh at that.
But and it's one thing when we were watching it the next day. It was another thing entirely at 3 a.m. when your brain is, at least my brain was not at 20%, you know. So
yeah.
But also it was, I don't know, it was kind of strange. First, I remember they popped up with like these Gashapon merch was like the first thing in the entire stream, and then it moved on to basically like, these are 9 numbers or whatever that like represent the show so far, and I was like, you know, 70 episodes or whatever, and more than that.
It's a lot more than that, obviously, but
whatever. X manga chapters, and then it was 2,300 staff, and then you see the infinity pop up. And even, you know, with 10% brain operation, I knew they were gonna go for something like
yeah, like love for the series, either on the part of the fans or the staff or someone.
I think it was enthusiasm. I think
it ended up being enthusiasm and love of the staff. Yeah, but I was split between whether or not it would be for the fans or the staff, and it was the staff in the end. Who would they say are like all fans? And I actually, you know, oftentimes I don't believe that when people say it, but there's a part of me that believes it in this case, at least more than I usually do.
Oh yeah, and it really threw me off. Even like I'm losing track of days. Yesterday was the day after, right?
Yeah, I mean technically it was in the morning for us yesterday. But yeah.
Yeah,
technically you think of it as Saturday night.
This all technically happened yesterday. Wait, is that true? Holy crap.
Yeah.
That's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Wow.
It is a little weird to think about, huh?
24 hours can be a long time. Well, Yeah, anyway, waking up the next morning though was everything felt a little off for me.
I was actually better than I expected waking up, considering I only had like 5.5 hours of sleep or so.
Maybe because they were uninterrupted hours.
Yeah, I mean, you were talking about how you were trying to split up your sleep between, you know, a few hours before and then some hours after the event. And that just did not sound like a winning strategy for me, like knowing myself. So I just stayed up until it began and then went to sleep, you know, partway through, like I said. And, you know, that didn't end up being too bad. But enough about the negatives associated with this event because...
well, those were all fun things.
Well, true.
Life is about experiences, and we disrupted a cycle of monotony. But please do go on.
The industry. Yeah. Yeah, but like overall, I remember this. I don't know why, but I remember this was here.
Wow.
That item.
What a pro gamer.
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't. You didn't. Oh, that one was more obvious.
Well, that one was just there.
Oh. I didn't even see.
Let's see. But what I was gonna say was it was still really exciting, you know, not only to have all of those voice actors from the entire series so far present in the same room, you know, talking about the production and stuff, but also the ultimate reveal was very exciting, even if it was basically just a still image, you know, that was good enough for me. And then like the voice actress who's going to play Jolene, you know, she seemed really passionate about the series. There's a lot of good moments, you know, in those last few minutes where she was sort of talking about her, you know, looking forward to becoming a part of this series. And I was like, yeah, this is actually really cool. So
she was like bawling.
Yeah, she got pretty emotional, and the other voice actors were all quite supportive of her and everything, and it was cool to see. So yeah, I mean, I think that there's probably a good number of people watching this who are themselves anime fans. You know, there's a significant overlap, I would guess, between Pokemon fans and anime fans, because some of them probably like the Pokemon anime, right?
That was our introduction to anime for a lot of us.
Yeah, for a lot of people here in the West, yeah, I suspect it was. It no doubt was for me. Yeah, I would say that there's even probably some of you who are JoJo fans, and hopefully you feel as excited as I am. I've actually read the manga.
Oh wow!
The part. I'm drawing a distinction here that Joe is not, and the reason I'm saying this is because I think it would be preferable to avoid spoiling manga parts in the comments of this video if anybody wants to discuss it.
Because I'll read it,
at the very minimum, if Joe reads it, he's gonna get spoiled, and that wouldn't be very fun.
No.
But yeah, feel free to talk more generally about your excitement about the upcoming part. It is actually my favorite part, which is, I think, a somewhat controversial opinion, maybe, or at least an unpopular one. And I hope you all get to see why that is when it gets animated.
Well, I'm excited. Obviously, having a woman voice a JoJo character is very exciting. For those who don't know, it's a little bit Doctor Who-ish, you know. This is like,
yeah, there's some elements of that.
Yeah, this is that kind of significant jump too. So it's very exciting, and
I think it's handled better in some ways than Doctor Who handled it. And also it happened like 20 years nearly earlier than Doctor Who. Because you have to remember that Jolene, I believe, the Stone Ocean manga began in, I want to say, like 2005 or so, perhaps. Maybe earlier than that. I'm trying to remember. Because, like, I think it may have even been like 2001, yeah. And it was early 2000s either way.
It's not to say, you know, that Japan is a bastion of forward-thinking values, but in this particular case, they did good, maybe.
Even the JoJo series isn't necessarily, but in some cases it has been. I think, you know, there's certainly arguments about how good of representation Lisa was, you know, back in Battle Tendency. But I think probably better than a lot of women got in shonen manga at the time, which was, again, like the mid 1980s. So I don't know. I think JoJo's is generally what I would consider generally to be, even though it's not generally very explicitly political. I think it's a fairly progressive series, and I think more recent iterations of it, like Stone Ocean and parts beyond it, only reinforce that for me. Yeah.
So, where are we at in this game, by the way?
Well, this is one of the longest droughts of content in some ways in the entire game. And you can tell that it was a problem because it was actually altered in Platinum. The space between the second and third gyms in Diamond and Pearl is at a minimum very long, and at a maximum is almost mind-numbingly long. The reason I say maximum is because you have some control over when you actually take on the third gym. This thing has bite.
Yeah, we had a similar.
You don't want to lose another.
Yeah. You don't want to be done in by that surprise bite.
Might even have crunch at this point. I don't know. Roar. Okay.
Ooh.
Honestly, you could probably take this fine.
Yeah, he's trying to over-level us.
Yeah, but I'll just swap him out for Groddle if it gets too high leveled, honestly. Bite. Okay.
Well, I'm glad we're plowing through. I had a full night's sleep last night, which was good, uninterrupted.
Nice.
And,
that's good.
You know, my strategy for that night that apparently only took place yesterday, technically. But the vision was that apparently a sleep cycle, you know, I learned this in college actually, that a sleep cycle is something like 2 to 3 hours, and you're actually going through multiple sleep cycles for a full night's sleep. And so I thought, oh, I'll get in 1 cycle before the event, 2 cycles after the event, and then that'll be like a full night's sleep. But I don't know. I felt off. I feel like, you know, just sleeping through 6 hours or whatever, like a smaller amount of sleep or 4 hours might have just been the play. But I cannot stay up that late. I don't know how you stayed up that late. Like, how did you keep your mind occupied?
Mostly by reading. I've been reading a bit more recently, but I would say on like an average night, I tend to stay up until like 1 a.m. anyways. So this wasn't like that much later, perhaps. Yeah, but I was certainly getting worn thin by the time we reached like 3. You know, I was like, okay, this is much later than I usually stay up. You know.
I mean, we only survived. Did we survive half an hour or a full hour?
We got a full hour. Yeah.
Okay, kind of. As we started drifting. I don't know though.
Yeah, that's true.
If I start reading, I fall asleep like if it's the middle of the day. So.
Well, you must not be reading very exciting books. I don't know.
No, I love the book, and I start drifting, and where I start reading the same paragraph over and over again, and then I start to close, and I'm like, well, it's nap time.
Yeah, no, I don't really have that experience myself, frankly. Yeah,
Well, as a prolific author yourself, I mean, you can't be falling asleep at a book.
Maybe that's part of it. Maybe it's just overexposure. But yeah, I mean, if I'm enjoying the book enough, like, though sometimes I have that where like I have to start rereading stuff over and over again. It's not usually exhaustion that makes me do it so much as it is distraction. Like if I let my mind wander or if something else is distracting me, then that starts to happen. But I'm generally able to progress through reading, you know, line by line without having to go back and reread very much. Actually, my problem is sometimes reading ahead because, especially if you're in the middle of a climactic scene, it's hard not to glance over at the next page, you know, and be and just see like the line of dialogue, you know, especially when it gets to like a chapter's end, like the last line of a chapter always just sticks out, and you're like, don't look at it, just keep reading line by line. Don't ruin the sequence here that the author crafted to build up to that last line.
Yeah, your eyes move and I never saw him again. And you're like, no!
Exactly. It's like you're like all it takes is like the slightest break. Like sometimes you even do it accidentally, you know, and and you catch it and you can't unread it, and you're like, okay, well I still read, you know, the rest of it. I don't just move on at that point. Like I give up. But I'm like, okay, I know how this sequence is gonna end, basically.
Or like your bookmark falls out of your book and you're trying to find the right chapter, and then suddenly you start reading. Oh, I think it was 24, You start reading the first line. John joined the crew and started like, whatever.
It had been 20 days since John died.
Right.
You know, it's like what? John died.
No. 3 weeks later, after my parents had died in the horrible accident. No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was nothing left of my childhood home but ashes. What?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I've had like, when I was a kid, sometimes I would like flip to the end of the book before finishing it and just read like the last paragraph.
I have known multiple people who have done that. Actually, I think I've discussed this with you before. I've known somebody else who did the same thing. And in fact, it was like a ritual for them. And they did it like, not even just when they were kids, but like nowadays. And they sort of expressed to me why. And they're like, there's just too much tension for them. Once they start reading a series, they have to know at least kind of how it ends. Otherwise, they're too stressed to read it, basically. Like the anticipation, the anxiety builds up for them. And I was like, that's really interesting because I love that feeling. That's a feeling I crave, and I love to
because you don't get that feeling
book.
in real life. You don't get that.
Well, maybe. I mean, but I love having that that slow buildup of anxiety over the course of a book as you sort of more and more you begin to wonder how is this going to resolve. And I think the best books very intentionally build that up for you. But I guess to each their own, I'm not going to gatekeep book reading. If that's how they enjoy reading books, then that's how they enjoy reading books. It's not how I enjoy reading books. But
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't do it now. Like, I think I don't even understand why I did it as a kid. I don't think it was for the anxiety reason. I think it was more just curiosity. But I certainly wouldn't do it now. But I do know I was in a club in high school where we did we would do like watch the first episode of a TV show and the last episode and guess what happens basically in between. And
that's almost kind of fun
with anime and cartoons, and it would be wild, right? Because like first episode, it's like a school kid just doing like normal school kid stuff. Maybe at the end there's some dramatic moment, and then last episode, they're half robot Mega Man-esque, like saving the universe. So you have to guess. Yeah. Well, based on all the tropes, right, that we see in TV, what is the in between here? Did you know, by the way, going to the game really quick, did you know that finding two Spinda that have the same pattern is like...
Is like what? I mean, yeah, I know like, that it's really rarer than finding a shiny.
Yeah. Like a magnitude rarer. Like I think it might be like 10 times rarer.
I don't remember the exact number of Spinda variations. There is a finite number of them. But there's like thousands and thousands.
Right. Well, I'm sure they're like generated by an algorithm, right? Like,
they are, but there's a finite number that were generated at some time by that algorithm, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Or I think that's how
or there's only so many ways it can be matched, mixed in.
Yeah. There's only so many pixels on a Spinda anyways, right? There has to be some limit, but right.
Yeah, like the limit is you have a solid like black colored Spinda with just one massive spot.
This is actually a new route. Route 2.
Oh, okay. So we get another catch.
We have an encounter here, yeah. Might have to fight this
old man
hiker first. Yeah.
I feel like we don't have to fight all of these trainers. I know you want to.
We don't, no. We definitely don't.
Completing the Pokédex this way. Oh, I got an email. Isn't that nice? April 2021 news. A lot's been happening recently. Take a look.
Me.
Oh man, a lot has been happening. I got a car today.
You got a what?
I got a car.
You got a car?
I got a vehicle, a motor vehicle.
You own a vehicle then.
An automobile.
And why didn't you tell me about this sooner? You were trying to get my genuine reaction.
Yeah, now I have your genuine, unfiltered show reaction. Oh.
Wow. I I was not expecting that to happen so soon.
I'll tell
What
you
kind of car
about
is
it.
it?
Well, I'll tell you about it on the next episode.
Oh, I see. So let's get this encounter and end off.
No,
the
I
episode
think we
real
should
quick.
cliffhanger. I think we should cliffhanger.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
okay, fine.
So
I'll let you torment the audience.
I'll start outroing, assuming you win this battle here. But thank you for joining us today on Input Left. We'd like to let you know that this is a community worth building because we care about real life things sometimes, and also
Not just anime things.
not just
or
anime and cartoons.
video game things.
Check out our other videos if you don't believe it. But subscribe, share this video with a friend. Please ring the bell because that's the thing to do these days. That's what the kids are into. And disrupt the industry. You know,
Yeah,
by subscribing to us. That's real disruption. So yeah. Sorry, I just want to make sure you defeat Hiker Robert. All right. See you next time.
See you, everybody.